Salem Central's 7th annual Take a Veteran School Day. As they have given us so much of themselves to our country and community, please remember to give them our best as an audience. At this time, we ask everyone to stand for the members of Boy Scout Troop 61 and the procession of our veterans, honored by the Patriot Guard, accompanied by Ethan Drinkwine drum kits. Pledge of Allegiance by Boy Scout Troop 61.
Stripes and bright stars. join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please be seated. Please welcome our next presenter, Jared Davis.
Good morning, students, faculty, and community members. Today is our way to say thank you to our community members, family, and friends who have served in the armed forces. Today is also our opportunity to learn from those who have protected our rights and our freedom. The grade 4 through 6 chorus will now perform "Will You Be Here in December?" Please welcome a graduate of Salem Central School, Sue Magaletta, Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Air Force retired, who will speak on women in the armed forces.
Good morning. Wasn't that just beautiful? Oh. Yeah. Okay, good morning, Superintendent Glover, Principal Varney, Principal Davis, members of the Board of Education, faculty, students, friends, guests, and fellow veterans. My name is Sue Phillips Magaletta. I'm a retired Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Air Force. I am a Salem, Washington Academy graduate, class of 1989. It's an honor to be asked to attend the Salem School's Veterans Day ceremony. I've heard about this ceremony over the last several years but didn't have an opportunity to attend until last year. And I have to say, it is extremely humbling and extremely impressive to see all of you students here and put together such a wonderful program. The hospitality, the organization, just everything, from beginning to end is so outstanding. I think you guys deserve a round of applause for what you've put together, faculty and students, and pat yourselves on the back because it's really important that you've done that. Don't you agree? So not only am I impressed with the student turnout here, I'm kind of even more impressed with the veteran turnout. There's so many people here and among us every single day, growing up here in Salem or in the surrounding areas, that took an oath, they raised their hand, and they defend our Constitution and support all the freedoms that we experience every day. These people from Salem and these surrounding areas were here when I was your age, growing up. They were part of this community that raised me. But as a kid, I didn't know that most of these people over here that were from Salem were veterans. We didn't have a ceremony like this. This ceremony is actually extremely important for you to understand where they're coming from. And for me, now as a fellow veteran, I appreciate your service more than ever. And it's really an honor to be in your company. So I understand today you guys have a half day. And that this is a 3-day weekend. And that one of the things standing between you and that 3-day weekend is me. So I'll make my remarks brief, but teachers, I promise to make them think, and I intend to give them homework. So it was suggested to me to speak about women in the military. But to start that, we need to do a team experiment. Okay, this is the part where you need to do some thinking. Take a moment, all of you, close your eyes, and picture what a veteran looks like. Okay, keep your eyes closed, keep picturing that image in your mind, and answer these questions silently to yourself. Is the veteran tall or small? Do they have dark hair or light hair? Was the hair long or short? Do they have dark skin or light skin? Do they look strong and fit? Do they look like your grandfather, your grandmother, your father, your mother? Are they a boy or are they a girl? Do they look like me? Do they look like you? Okay, open your eyes. Okay, many of the images that we have of military men and women really come from Hollywood. Veterans tend to look just like everybody else. They're not always the all-American hero male stereotype that we see on television and in the movies. Military men and women look just like the cross-section of the United States. It's just you and me. So, as diverse as we are in the military and in this nation, studies do show that the general population envisions a veteran to be male and not female. Because of this, the Center for Women Veterans has done a study, has understood that this has been a problem in our public, and we need to change that. And so what they've done is they've created a campaign, really a public service announcement that's out there called I Am a Veteran Too. So what I ask you to do, in order to advance this conversation, in our military circles as well as our general public circles, that veterans look just like you and me. They can be male and they can be female. I'd like you to do some homework. Imagine this. All too frequently, a female woman veteran is dismissed as the wife or the daughter. Or what did your husband do while they were in the military? Instead of being thought of as the actual veteran. veterans featured in this campaign are all women. They all describe what a veteran looks like. They all describe what it means to be a veteran. And some of the crazy personal experiences that I can relate to that they discuss for the public's reaction when they discover that they too are a veteran. So I want your homework this Veterans Day to be to go home, yourself or with a parent, and Google "I Am a Veteran" campaign from the Women's Center, the Women's Veterans Center. Just open up your mind a little bit to the fact that veterans look like me and you. So throughout my career, people always ask me, what was it like to be a woman serving in the military? What was it like to be a female at the United States Air Force Academy? And why did you, as a woman, decide to go into the military? Well, in the beginning, these questions kind of, they threw me off guard. I thought, geez, frankly, I didn't really think of myself as being any different than anybody else that was in the military. But I had to learn to be around those that thought that I shouldn't be there. I know people were only asking out of curiosity, and I would get those questions all the time. But the guy standing next to me would get a question like, what are you working on right now in the military? What is it like to serve? What career field are you in? What is the latest project that the military is working on? How's your next deployment preparation going? And then I'd be there and I'd get the woman question. And I thought about that, and sometimes it bothered me. I'd much rather have someone say to me, hey, what's it like to be a cyberspace operations officer in the United States Air Force? But over the course of my career, I began to understand and accept the path that I chose. It was indeed different than many of my female peers. I had a responsibility to answer these questions honestly and perhaps change the perceptions of those in the general public. Kind of like that homework I'm giving you. I also realized just how many other women out there were just like me. They chose the same path that I chose. And life is all about choices, so remember that. Life is all about the choices you make. If you are qualified and you want to do something, there shouldn't be anything out there that stops you from reaching those goals. When I was recently graduated out of high school and I went to the United States Air Force Academy, it never dawned on me that there would be people there that thought I didn't belong there. Women had only been allowed to be in service academies since 1976. In 1976, I was 5. And while I spent the next 15 years growing up and playing here in Salem, those women persevered and overcame brutal obstacles and difficult circumstances, proving that they did belong. In turn, their actions paved the way for girls like me to think going to a service academy or serving in the military was normal. Just like it is for any of you sitting here today. When I did actually enter the military after graduating in 1995, there were jobs that I wasn't allowed to have simply because I was a woman. Laws still banned women from combat, and that left about 10% of the jobs out there completely unattainable to women, only because they were women. It wasn't until just a couple years ago, in 2015, the year I retired, that this ban was completely lifted thanks to Secretary of Defense Ash Carter, who had been our country had been trying to push this forward for the last several years, but it wasn't until that time, 2015, many years after those early graduates from the Air Force Academy in 1976 had already plugged through an entire career and then some, did that happen. And so today, if you want to go in the military, and you want any job, and you're qualified, you can do anything, regardless of gender. Throughout my 20 years in service, I had the privilege of knowing so many women that were the first to do something in the military. Things like the first 4-star general, first female 4-star general, the first female captain of a naval ship, the first female fighter pilot, and the first female prisoner of war. Just this year, Marines have the first female infantry officer. They have the first female amphibious armored vehicle officer. Naval women are now in submarines. And they just got their first female SEAL candidate this year. Last year, the Army's elite Ranger Force and their school graduated its first 2 women. But as proud as we are as service women, members, seeing our military sisters succeed and break down barriers and be the first to do something, we all long for the day that there are no more firsts for women, because our presence and contributions are expected. In the 21st century, an all-volunteer military force requires us to be able to draw on the talent from the broadest possible pool of talented Americans. That includes women, because we make up more than 50% of the population. So in conclusion, please don't forget that service members you honor on Veterans Day come from all walks of life. They all look different. They all kind of look like you and me. They are their own people, but they do share several fundamental qualities. Veterans do possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty and integrity. All the qualities needed to serve a cause greater than oneself. But these qualities also live inside of you as an American. Our job now as veterans, regardless of what we look like, is to show the next generation, you, what we believed in and fought for is still worth believing in and fighting for if necessary, and must not be taken for granted. On this Veterans Day, I ask that you don't just thank a veteran. Go out and do your homework. Put some time into reflecting on our experiment that we did here today, what a veteran looks like, and take a moment to consider your own stereotypes. Thank you for letting me be part of your special day, and it's an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Girl Scout Troop number 3061 and Brownie Troop number 3159 will present Veterans Day.
The Girl Scout Troops of Salem would like to honor you today with a thank you poem.
Veterans Day is all about honor, it's all about serving our country. So everyone here can be free. Veterans Day is all about valor, it's all about laying your life on the line. To protect liberty.
We raise our flags to you, the red, white, and blue.
Veterans Day is all about courage. It's all about respecting the right of each one. To live without fear. And Veterans Day is all about heroes. The ones who stand up each day to defend the hope of us all.
We raise our flags to you, the red, white, and blue, to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
At this time, I would like to introduce the veterans in attendance today. Their names will be announced by branch of the Armed Forces. If possible, please stand when your name is announced. The Cool to Be Kind Club will be presenting gift bags to the veterans. From the U.S. Navy, we have John Chief, Peter Thomas, Arthur Irby, Charlie Duveen, and Bob Jurasia. From the Army, we have Sergeant First Class Mohammed, Staff Sergeant Cordova, Michael D. McNeil, Michael Dashnaw, Donald S. Lewis, Charles E. Perry, Donald Ritchie, Jeffrey Snow, Jerry Miller, Ray Harvey, John Sherman, Jim Conity, Clarence Haskell, Cole Hickland, Jonathan Shaw, Alec McMorris, Jason Pollock, Phil Hoyt, Ron Keyes, Paul Dupuy, Larry McCauley, Brian H. Crozer, Jean Marie Kratzer, Chaplain Day Sid Gordon, Francis Nichols, Mark T. Mahoney, William Huffer, Gary Slater, Andy Irby, Jerry McKeegan, Mike Goldstein, Stephen H. Foster, Bill Everell, and Joe Manning. From the Marines, we have Tony Ciccone, Richard Hickland, and Jack McKeegan. From the Coast Guard, Tony Smigelski. From the Air Force, Jim Frost, Tom Harriman, Robert Hunter, Paul Mycheck, John Pelton, Sue Phillips Magaletta, Jack Haskell, Doug Hale, Scott D. Stevenson, Norma Skelly, Joe O'Connor, Al Fives, and Rod Crampton. Salem Central School would like to thank the Riddler family for the donation of a button maker in honor of Gene Sherman, a World War II veteran. You will notice that many students are wearing buttons honoring the veterans and their families. On a personal note, I'd also like to thank Lisa Hansen, Beverly Kratzer, and Vicki Perkins for their time, energy, and effort into organizing today's assembly. Members of the student board will now speak on the 4 branches of the armed forces.
From Army Air Service to Air Force to the United States Air Force, the aerial warfare branch of the U.S. military has been defending and tending to our country since aviation became a possibility. It all began with the delivery of the first plane from the Wright brothers to the Aeronautical Division in 1909. The Air Force joined the existing branches of the military on December 18, 1947, under congressional legislation after proving successful in World War II. The acts of dropping atomic bombs on Japan, conquering the Soviet blockade of Berlin, and aiding in the containment of communism all proved the power and the necessity of the Air Force in national safety as well as in humanitarian service. Today, our defenders of the sky continue to protect and serve with their capabilities in air, outer space, and cyberspace. Also, the airmen are important in airdropping supplies, rescuing people in dire situations, and helping fight large forest fires, as well as supporting communication in times of crisis or natural disaster. As you can see, our men fighting from the skies serve our nation well and truly deserve our utmost recognition and wholehearted thanks. I'd like to introduce Brady Nichols.
There are many unrecognized heroes in this nation, none more humble than the U.S. Coast Guard. The United States Coast Guard is a military service within the Department of Homeland Security. Its main roles are to enforce United States laws, conduct search and rescue missions, defend our ports, coast, and inland waterways, as well as to protect the environment. Although the United States Coast Guard is the smallest branch of the U.S. military, it has some very important accomplishments. On an average day, the United States Coast Guard conducts 109 searches and rescues, saves 10 lives, seizes 169 pounds of marijuana and 306 pounds of cocaine. That's worth more than $9,539,000 and investigates 6 vessel casualties. That is only on an average day. The Coast Guard may be the smallest branch, but its tasks are no less dangerous or important. I'd like to now welcome Keenan Fraunhofer.
The U.S. Navy started in Whitehall, New York in 1775.
Since its humble beginnings with only 6 frigates, it has grown to become the largest standing naval force in the world. Before the establishment of the Air Force in 1947, the Navy's aircraft were used in conflicts. Today, in all conflicts, the Navy is used to support forces and to provide humanitarian aid. The Navy has the ability to control air, sea, and land. The Navy also has the largest submarine force in the world with its famed Ohio-class submarines, the stealthiest and most technologically advanced in the world. There are 18 Ohio-class submarines, 14 ballistic missile submarines, and 4 cruise missile submarines. Currently, active personnel number 327,862 men and women. The U.S. Navy has 272 battleships, 3 aircraft carriers, 3 amphibious assault ships, and 3,700 aircraft. From the USS Constitution to the Nimitz-class aircraft carriers, the U.S. Navy is a global force for good. I would now like to introduce Alyssa Loveland.
It all started in Tun Tavern, Philadelphia in 1775, when the Continental Congress approved the formation of 2 battalions of the Marines with the purpose of protecting the country at sea and on the shore. From then on, the Marines have been known for their teamwork, brotherhood, and loyalty to their nation. In 1883, their motto of Semper Fidelis, meaning always faithful, was created and is still followed strictly to this day. This guides the Marines on the right path, staying faithful to their current mission, to their comrades, and to their country. Their core values are honor, courage, commitment, and leading by example. They are set apart from any other branch as the first on the scene, ready to take on anything that comes their way. They use these lessons not only for the U.S., but for the well-being of the world. Their unique skills will forever be known because they are the first to fight in order to keep everyone else safe, even if that means putting themselves in danger. A unique feature of all Marines, no matter what their military specialty, is being trained as highly skilled warriors, mastering rifling and other techniques. As our 40th President, Ronald Reagan, said, "Some people wonder all of their lives if they've made a difference. The Marines don't have that problem." I would now like to introduce Tyler Lathrop.
The Army's roots are in the Continental Army, which was formed in 1775 to fight in the Revolutionary War. In 1784, the Confederation of Congress created the official U.S. Army to replace the disbanded Continental Army. The Army is the oldest branch of the U.S. military, and today, there have been 15 U.S. presidents who have served in either the Army or the Army Reserves. The Army is the largest branch of the military, and it is the largest land-based unit tasked with upholding the Constitution and protecting America's freedom. The Army is one of 3 military departments of the Department of Defense. The heads of the U.S. Army are the Secretary of the Army and the Chief of Staff of the Army. The Army has 7 core values which soldiers are required to evince. These are loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Soldiers of the U.S. Army are asked to follow and to embody these values every day. Everyday responsibilities of the Army include supporting national policies of the United States, implementing national objectives, and overcoming any nations responsible for aggressive acts that could hinder the peace and security of the United States of America. Currently, the U.S. Army and the U.S. Army Reserves and the Army National Guard have over 1 million active soldiers prepared to defend our country from any threat. Thank you to all those who have served and are currently serving our great country.
The senior high band will perform Veterans Salute, featuring music from each branch. Tessa Georgeson will introduce each.
The senior high band director, Mr. Butler, asked me to introduce the band and announce the branches today because this Veterans Day means a lot to me. My brother, Blake Jordan, a graduate of the class of 2017 from Salem, Washington Academy, graduated Navy boot camp on October 20th and is now serving our country as a United States sailor. To our veterans, to show our appreciation, as Mr. Davis said, we'll be playing a veteran salute featuring each branch's song. As I call your branch, if you could, we ask you to stand so we can show our appreciation for your service and dedication to our country. The United States Army. The United States Navy. United States Air Force. Coast Guard.
Good morning, Generals. Good morning, community members, faculty, staff, members of the Board of Education, and most importantly, our honored guests here today. It's certainly a joy for you to join our students today from Salem Elementary and the Salem Washington Academy as we recognize you in your service, but you will help us today do something that's very important for us to our school. At our school here at the Salem Washington Academy and as a district, it is our mission in part that we endeavor to engender students into a sense of community and service to community that's both within the school and also that's within the community in itself. And I can think of no greater service than the ones that the veterans here have shown us today.
So students, thank you for your hard work in preparing for this. Teachers, thank you for your leadership in this. And our aides who have helped out with service, because this is certainly a community effort. This is the engendering of service that we hope to achieve here at the Academy and the district. And today is a fine example of that, as we honor our community members and our friends and our family that we know as veterans. As we think on today, you're going to have the opportunity to learn more. Your behavior here is exemplary. I know it will continue as you continue to learn as our veterans become our teachers today and teach us what we need to know is about service to country, and service to family, and service to community. So thank you for being here today. We appreciate your service. It's an honor. And thank you for all your work you do to make Salem shine here in Washington County. Mr. Grapevine, if you're ready. Student, faculty, staff, we would ask you to rise at this time and please remain standing as Ethan Grapevine will lead our veterans from the Jamaica.